Can I ask you a few questions?
Sure.
Did you see Amy's show this morning with Dylan Avery from Loose Change and Jason Berman?
No, I didn't. I don't necessarily listen to Dr. Democracy all the time. I totally support it, but I tend to be kind of busy, so.
All right. Do you know about the 9/11 Truth Movement?
Yeah, we get a lot of flyers about that kind of stuff. We've never actually covered it in the newspaper.
Is there a reason? What do you think of the movement? Is there a reason why you haven't covered it?
I think.
This is Amy's second time she's covered it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think the feeling, at least amongst the people who work on the paper.
And what's your paper?
The Independent. We're the print edition for the New York City Independent Media Center. And I think the feeling is that if we allow ourselves to get bogged down in kind of debating what many people see as conspiracy theorists, like the importance of the other stuff that we're trying to do, which is grassroots, political journalism, and sort of local citizen journalism, might somehow get diluted. And I just don't think that anybody has really found a compelling reason, at least from our basic knowledge of what's going on, to give it a lot of coverage, because there are so many things that we don't have the resources.
What are some priorities for your newspaper?
For the newspaper, I would say our priorities are doing grassroots coverage of a lot of local movements, things like immigrants' rights, which we've done a lot of coverage of, union efforts, organizing efforts, anything that is happening in New York City that is not getting a lot of coverage with the mainstream press. And then beyond that, we're also kind of had this international bent. A lot of times our paper has all stories from international or local and like limited national coverage. That's just a function of the fact that we came out of an anti-globalization movement and a movement that is based internationally through a lot of these like IMC websites. The Independent Media Center has sites all over the world. So the kind of information, the kind of struggles that we tend to focus on tend to be indigenous struggles, like what's going on in Oaxaca. That's something that we're really trying to focus on right now, and get a lot of coverage. But what's going on in Lebanon, I mean, if you look at our last issue, we have original reporting, original photography, like from the ground in Lebanon, that we've managed to get.
What's your response to? I mean, I guess some of the people that are involved in the 9/11 Truth Movement see it as sort of the Achilles heel. I mean, obviously the war on terror, everything. This is the new. It used to be the Cold War. Now it's the war on terror. The colonialism that the traditional left has always fought against. Expansionism, militarism. It's all the war on terror now, and underlying all of that, including loss of civil liberties, etc., and the racism, the blatant racism behind the war on terror, all started with 9/11. So if the questions at the 9/11 Truth Movement are there and are legitimate, isn't that, do you see that as a legitimate reason to pull, as the Achilles heel, sort of pull out, the rug from the entire thing?
Yeah, and I understand that.
And at what point do we look at it, and this is a question, at what point is it become important enough to look at?
Well, I totally understand that impulse, and we are incredibly critical of everything that's come out of the September 11th thing, because everything that's come after that has been an excuse for 9/11. We're virulently against the war on terror and the Bush administration's agenda and the sort of incursions into civil liberties, all that kind of stuff. I just don't to sort of try to say that 9/11 was a conspiracy within the government itself, even if.
Wonder if it was. I guess let me put this and I'll say it's hypothetical. But a lot of times when you start looking into it, it's difficult, and at some point you got to make this. Wonder if they did. Wonder if they did.